Welcome to True Dinar Inside, your premiere source for uncensored global currency intelligence. We cut through the noise to bring you the raw, unfiltered truth. Let me be absolutely crystal clear with you right now, because what I'm about to lay out will fundamentally alter everything you thought you knew about the global financial reset and your place within it. We have just received and triple-verified earth-shattering confidential intelligence from multiple deep-within sources, confirming that a silent, meticulously coordinated operation is now actively underway within the vaults and private boardrooms of several major U.S. financial institutions. This is not a drill, this is not a rumor, and this is certainly not the kind of hopeful speculation we've been forced to endure for years. As of this very moment, select banks, which for operational security I cannot yet name publicly, but are household names you would instantly recognize, have begun facilitating private by appointment-only exchanges for the Iraqi Dinar and Vietnamese Dong. Let that sink in for a single moment. The long-prophesied mechanism, the very cornerstone of the revaluation event, has been silently activated. This isn't about a future promise or a distant maybe. This is a present-tense reality for a small, initial wave of currency holders who were strategically positioned and possessed the impeccable documentation required to be first in line. The initial profit figures emerging from these discrete exchanges are nothing short of astronomical, confirming that the revaluation rates are not the conservative, low-ball numbers some analysts feared, but are instead set at levels that genuinely reflect the true, untapped economic potential and sovereign wealth of these nations. Imagine holding an asset for years, through endless cycles of doubt and misinformation, only to discover that its value has been officially recognized at a rate that transforms a modest investment into generational, life-altering wealth virtually overnight. That is the phone call a handful of people are receiving right now. The entire architecture of this rollout is deliberately designed to avoid mass panic and destabilization of the current financial system. It is a controlled, phased process starting with the most substantial portfolios and meticulously vetted individuals, creating a soft launch that allows the system to manage the liquidity shockwave. Think of it like a dam with 1,000 tiny valves being opened one by one, rather than the entire structure collapsing at once. The intelligence we are gathering points to a very specific protocol. These are not public transactions happening at your local bank branch teller window. They are high-security, scheduled appointments, often occurring in secure off-site locations or private banking suites, conducted by senior financial officers who have been sworn to secrecy under severe non-disclosure agreements. The reason you are not seeing press releases or mainstream media headlines is that this entire operation is classified under strict financial security protocols, treated with the same level of confidentiality as a national security asset. The media blackout is intentional and total. The established powers cannot afford a stampede of billions of dollars flowing into a new asset class before they have positioned their own interests. This is the ultimate financial quiet period, the calm before the storm of public awareness hits. Our sources within the internal compliance departments of these institutions are reporting the creation of entirely new, standalone digital ledgers and exchange platforms specifically built to handle the IQD and VND at their new values, completely separate from the legacy Forex trading systems that currently display the old pre-revaluation rates. This technological separation is a critical piece of evidence. It proves this is a bifurcation of the financial system, the creation of a new monetary plane operating parallel to the old one until the transition is complete. The trigger for this phase, according to our analysis, was the final ratification of the Iraq federal budget and their subsequent compliance with the final few items on the Chapter 7 closure list, effectively removing the last international legal barriers that had been artificially suppressing the currency's value. For Vietnam, it was the culmination of their aggressive gold mobilization policy and the successful backing of the Dong with a tangible sovereign asset, meeting the critical requirement for a stable and powerful revaluation. This is the moment we have been waiting for, the validation of every piece of intelligence we have ever shared. The banks are moving, the exchanges have begun. The revaluation is not coming, it is here. Now, you need to understand the brutal, unvarnished truth about why this is happening right under our noses, yet remains shrouded in such impenetrable secrecy. Because the mechanisms of this transition are designed to systematically exclude the unprepared, while lavishly rewarding those with the right knowledge and a concrete plan of action. The first and most critical layer of this operation is the concept of tiered redemption, a structured process that prioritizes holders based on the size of their currency portfolios and the integrity of their acquisition documents. And this is where most people, tragically, will make their first and most costly mistake. The initial wave, which is happening right now as we speak, is exclusively for the so-called whale portfolios. Those individuals and entities holding tens or even hundreds of millions of dinar or dong, who have undergone and passed an intense, multi-layered background check conducted by an international financial consortium, not just a single bank. These individuals are being contacted directly by private bankers through encrypted, non-traceable communication channels, and their exchanges are being processed through a special liquidity window opened by the Federal Reserve, specifically for this purpose, which is why you will see zero impact on the public M2 money supply numbers initially. This is the quiet absorption of the new currency into the high finance ecosystem, without causing a single ripple in the pond that the average person can see. The second tier, which our sources indicate is slated to begin within the next 30 to 45 days, will encompass the medium-sized holders, the people who have what we would call life-changing amounts, perhaps in the range of $10,000 to $20,000 of original investment. And this is the group that must have their documentation in flawless, unimpeachable order right now, today, because the compliance checks will be just as rigorous. You must be able to prove, with bank withdrawal slips, wire transfer confirmations, or certified dealer receipts, exactly where your currency came from, that it was purchased with legally sourced funds, and that it has been in your physical possession or in a validated safe deposit box for the requisite period to clear any potential anti-money laundering flags. The system they are using, known internally as the Currency Asset Verification System, or CAVS, is a blockchain-inspired digital ledger that tracks the provenance of every large note series. And if your serial numbers are flagged as being part of a known counterfeit batch, or were reported stolen in a past shipment heist, you will be permanently locked out of the exchange process and potentially subject to a financial fraud investigation. This is why we have relentlessly warned against buying currency from unverified online dealers or from shady individuals in parking lots. Those notes are financially toxic and will be worthless when presented at redemption. The final public tier, the one that will be announced on mainstream news, is the one that will offer the lowest exchange rate, as the initial highest value tiers are always the reward for assuming the greatest risk and demonstrating the most foresight. By the time CNN and Fox News are broadcasting this, the astronomical profit window for the early prepared adopters will have already closed, and the banks will be offering a standardized public rate that, while still highly profitable, will be a fraction of what the Tier 1 and Tier 2 recipients are receiving at this very moment. This is the unspoken, brutal mathematics of wealth transfer. It always, without exception, flows from the uninformed to the informed. The banks themselves are operating under a cloak of plausible deniability. Their public-facing tellers and even branch managers have been given no information and are following a strict script to deny any knowledge of such exchanges, directing all inquiries to a centralized, pre-recorded message that states the bank does not currently deal in those currencies, which is technically true for the public-facing, non-private banking divisions. This is a deliberate firewall to prevent a flood of inquiries from crashing their system and to maintain operational security until the phased rollout is complete. The entire strategy is built on a foundation of controlled, managed release, and your ticket into the profitable early tiers is not just the physical currency you hold, but the verifiable, airtight proof of its legitimate origin, and your unwavering patience to see this through to the very end.
So, the undeniable, non-negotiable question now crashing into your mind is undoubtedly this. What specific, actionable steps must I take at this very second to ensure I am not left standing at the closed door when my tier is called? To transform this intelligence from a thrilling news update into a concrete, life-defining financial reality for me and my family? The blueprint for this is precise, and deviation from it is the single greatest cause of failure. So listen with intense focus. Your first mission, and it is non-negotiable, is to conduct an immediate audit of your currency holdings and your documentation. You must locate every single dinar and dong note you own and cross-reference them against the serial number databases that we and other serious intelligence groups have published, ensuring none of your notes are from the decommissioned or suspect series that will be automatically rejected by the CAV system. And then you must gather every single piece of paper that traces the journey of that money from your bank account to the dealer and into your hands. This paper trail is not just important, it is your access key. It is the only thing that separates you from the thousands of holders of worthless, illegitimate currency who will be left with nothing but a profound and devastating regret. Second, you must understand the absolute necessity of having a pre-established relationship with a financial institution that has a proven private banking arm. Walking into a standard retail bank branch as a complete stranger with a suitcase of foreign currency after the public announcement is a recipe for being escorted out by security and having your assets frozen for questioning. The time to establish this rapport was yesterday, but the second best time is right now, which means you need to begin quietly inquiring about the services of private client groups at major national banks, framing it as interest in wealth management for a future liquidity event, without explicitly mentioning the dinar or dong until you are in a secure, confidential meeting with a senior advisor who has the clearance to know what you are talking about. Third, and this is the most critical mental shift you must make, you must abandon the public narrative and its endless cycle of doubt and misinformation. The mainstream financial media's purpose is not to inform you of wealth transfers of this magnitude, but to distract you until the process is complete and the wealth has been securely transferred to the new class of asset holders. which is why you will see zero coverage of these private exchanges on any major network. Your only source of truth must be from verified, vetted intelligence channels that have a proven track record of accuracy and that have sources deep within the operational framework of this event. Channels that are not afraid to name names, provide specific procedural details, and warn you of the deadly pitfalls that can destroy your chances of success. This is the final leg of a decades-long marathon, and the finish line is now visibly in sight. But it is in this final stretch that most runners stumble due to exhaustion, doubt, or a simple lack of preparation for the final sprint. Do not be that person. Do not allow the years of patience and investment to evaporate because you failed to execute the final simplest steps. The intelligence we provide is your operational map, but you are the one who must pick it up, study it, and run the course with precision and determination. The banks are moving, the exchanges are happening, and the financial reset is no longer a theory. It is a quiet, methodical, and undeniable reality. Your future, your family's legacy, and your financial freedom are now hanging in the balance, waiting for your decision.